Tony Pedregon, Robert Hight. We're talking nitro. We're talking funny car. Let's take you back to Seattle. And the second round, Robert Hight, he's closest to you. Tony Pedregon on the far side, and Robert Hight takes the loss to Tony Pedregon. Tony Bartone goes on and wins the event, but they loaded the car up, and Robert Hight and a couple of the guys took a camera with him and were nice enough to show us what goes on after the event. Pull all the equipment in, climb in the car, find yourself a driver. In fact, Robert Hight drove part of the way there and part of the way in the big rig.
Tell you, anytime you get to drive the big rig, that's always fun. But then there's some much needed sleep. The crew guys don't get much, and sometimes they got to sleep on the road. But that is a beautiful drive from Seattle all the way down here to Sonoma.
Comes down here, does all of his PR obligations. There's a lot of work to being a driver. It's not just the in-the-cockpit stuff. Jimmy Prock looks across, says they are ready. John Force on the line and watching. Tony Pedregon, and the winner will take over second in the points just of this round right here. Hight, Pedregon. And put that one down for Robert Hight, 419, 294 miles an hour. He hasn't won a race since the Winter Nationals, but he is looking at that possibility now. You're right, John.
Like Robert did his job. You know, usually Robert's shallow, trying to get that lane choice. But he knows how Tony is on that Christmas tree, so Robert took a little bit out of it, not much, and of course he had the number to get the win anyway. Good job by Jimmy Prock and that Auto Club team.
Gary Densham is 3-2 over Wilkerson when they match up. Let's go to Gary Gerald. He has Robert.
Robert, we saw some of the video. You driving the big rig, the boys coming down from Seattle, that spectacular drive. Now you're making it all pay off, going to the finals. Your thoughts about that?
You know, just kind of like John Force in the old days, driving the rig and working with the crew, just getting it from race to race, traveling with the team. It's just a lot of fun. I tell you what, it brings me back to when I worked on the car, but tell you what, there ain't nothing better than driving this Auto Club Ford, and hopefully we can win this race. This is my home track.
And by the way, you just went to second in points again.
Yes!
You know, I just find this to be a remarkable number, Mike Dunn. Gary Densham, 3-2 racing Wilkerson this season. I mean, that's a bit of a surprise, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it would have been last year, but this year, I'll tell you what, Gary Densham has a race car, you know? And what's amazing is these are probably the two of the smaller budgets on the entire circuit. Single car teams, as you mentioned, Paul. But yet, Tim Wilkerson's #1 in the points. Gary Densham, by going rounds today, has moved from 8th in the points all the way up to 6th. And they're doing it on a small budget compared to, you know, Team Schumacher, Team Force, Team Pedregon. They just keep going out there and winning rounds, and I like seeing that.
Now, this was a team, though, that got rushed a little bit. Shorter turnaround. The team was changing an engine, but I'll tell you what, this team has also gelled together this year. They got a lot of chemistry, and Tim Wilkerson, calm and steady behind the wheel, no doubt will be able to get through this run.
Look at Gary Densham, the whole shot. We're going to the final.
What do you think? Party, as Mike Dunn says. Marty, the one-man party.
John Force, the party that taught Marty the party.
Unbelievable. Gary Densham, I was just talking to his son, Stevie, and he said that his dad's been on the game all day on the tree, you know, with that, going out there with consistent 70, 80 lights, and to watch him go up there and win on a hole shot, especially against Wilkerson, who's a veteran. Wilkerson car ran good. Gary got the win. That sets up a heck of a final. Two teammates, Robert Hight and Gary Densham, both of them drove that AAA car at one time, so see what happens.
Second hole shot win of the season for Gary Densham. He's never won a race with his own team, and having his best ever Sonoma race.
What a great job. That was a situation. Neither driver had great reaction times. They're both a little bit off, but Gary still had 0.03 of a second advantage, and that was the difference at the stripe.
Gary Densham will face Robert Hight in the finals here at Infineon Raceway. We'll be talking to the Dench right after we take this quick timeout.
Whoa.